then is a continuation of the what's the word for the belligerency on both sides, the war on both sides, Israel and Lebanon. Oh, by the way, Israel is meeting with the actual leaders of Lebanon, not Hezbollah, in violation of Lebanon's constitution, by the way. They're not allowed to talk to Israelis. But and Hezbollah does not want the legitimate Lebanese government to meet with Israel, but they are, in order to come up with a Lebanese-Israeli peace deal and to get rid of Hezbollah. And if you wish, I have a timeline. 7 p.m. the Trump-Bibi call, first call. 7:40, Trump announces there is a ceasefire. 10 p.m., this is yesterday, Bibi tweets, if our cities and citizens are attacked, we will act in Beirut. And we had sent troops up there. And Trump told those troops to do an about face. And that was my side note. At 11:44 p.m., Trump so the result of the whole thing is that Israel will continue to act in Lebanon, but will not send troops into the Tahia suburb of Beirut at the moment, which is sort of sad because this heads up allowed Hezbollah to move its assets, and it's prolonging Israel's effort to eradicate Hezbollah. So that's what I have for you. I'm staying right on the topic here. I'm staying away from your relationship with the porn star, Gary. I would not make a similar choice, I don't think, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but I like to talk. I like conversation. So I need to be with a woman who can laugh at my jokes, such as they are, and have a good conversation. Let's see if I know a guy. Yeah, I knew a guy who was not with a porn star, but with a sex professional who was very pretty. And she seemed nice enough, but again, it's just not my taste. I like an intelligent woman that I can talk to. So I'll leave it there and let me know if you have any questions or comments.
I do have a question, and the serious question will follow the flippant one, and that is, how do you know that a porn star is unintelligent just because of her profession? You make a presumption that you ought not to make. Maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong. But let me ask you this question. The profanity-laced conversation allegation aside, would you not agree with my assessment and that of the people who I referred to earlier, the Israeli experts, who say that it's impossible that the initial decision to go after Hezbollah in that enclave of Beirut was done not in a vacuum, but with the acquiescence of the president? And if that's true, how do you account for the president telling him to turn the troops around?
Well, yeah, I have thought this through, and I think it's a brilliant question, not least of all because I think I have a really good answer. And that is that Trump is quieting the critics to his right, to the right of him, the sort of the Tucker faction of MAGA, who are saying that he is enthralled to Bibi, that he's wanting to Bibi's hora, so to speak, which is a Jewish kind of Jewish dance. So I'm trying to make a joke here. In other words, he's saying, hey, what's the word I'm looking for? I cursed him out. I bawled him out. I scolded Bibi. See, I'm not marching to Bibi's tune. That's what I think. I think probably Trump.
So you think that was leaked by the White House purposely in order to appease the conservatives?
Absolutely.
That's an interesting observation. By the way, thank you for that, Norm. I will say this since Norm brings up Tucker Carlson. It gives me an opportunity to say that YouGov, YOU.gov, is that what it is? How it's done? No, it's not .gov. YouGov, isn't that the name of the organization? They did a poll released today of populist people and their influence and their the perception people have of them. The person most trusted on their list was the Pope. The person least trusted on their list was Tucker Carlson. So I think that's an indication that things may be moving in the correct direction. Howard, followed by Doctor.
Hey Gary, everyone. Yeah, go to Dr. Gary. I've got a couple things going on right now, so I'll continue to listen.
Okay, Doctor, followed by David. Doctor, Miss MD, or Mr. MD, can you tell me what's ailing me? David, followed by Merrill.
Hey Gary, an interesting segue on the sexual proclivities of the president. Recall in the '60s, it was John F. Kennedy who was apparently a Lothario sort.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy. He couldn't lead. He was screwing a movie star, and yeah, she wasn't a porn star, but come on, let's face it, Marilyn Monroe. Ooh, whoopie doo. What talent did she really have other than her boobs? Come on.
Well, I mean, if this is a guy who faced down the Soviets and Cuba.
Impossible. He was having a relationship with Marilyn Monroe. How could that be?
Anyway, I'm not.
I'm not condoning it either, but to presume that a person, if they are attracted to a sexually expressive individual, has bad judgment, maybe that is bad judgment, but other people might think that was really good judgment, depending on their perspective. So it had nothing to do with your ability to lead or not, in my opinion, but there are probably those who agree with the caller who says that there's some kind of cause and effect between the president's inability to lead in the manner in which she wishes that he would, and the fact that he has a high libido. Probably she feels that, and other people probably agree. I recognize other people would agree with her comment.
Yeah, and the press sort of gave presidents back then kind of a professional courtesy with regard to their personal lives. You mentioned the way the press would disclose FDR's, polio or his disability, not being able to walk or stand.
Nobody talked about Babe Ruth and his proclivities because, and not just when it came to females, but when it came to drinking, they protected the Babe because he was kind of an icon, and by the way, he was still the Babe when he got up to the plate, and that's all anybody cared about. They didn't care that he was, and Joe Namath, Broadway Joe Namath.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, I'll bring him on here someday because I have a source. I can bring him on, and he'll tell you to our face how he was, running through every woman he could get his hands on when the Jets were flying high. And so that didn't stop him. Of course, he wasn't a leader of the free world, but it didn't stop him from making important judgment decisions on a split second on the football field. For gosh sakes. I'm not saying that it was behavior that one should be proud of. I'm just saying, what does one have to do with the other? I don't get the argument.
Well, yeah, it's how one treats the opposite sex. It's more important than what she does for a living or whatever. But that aside, I think definitely that the midnight tweets, Trump's really becoming unhinged. Whether or not Norm's comments are speaking to a pandering to the right, that I've got this BB guy under control, that I'm going to take him down a notch. I think ultimately he's got to be frustrated and angry here because he's not a strategist. He's not an operative. He's not. I had this debate with Marshall on the stage about his lack of militarism and his understanding of that, and he's really counting on. And this kind of pokes to this mythology that the IDF and our intelligence and Israel's intelligence, that we can best any foe on the planet. I think some of that was bought hook, line, and sinker in the war room, in the situation room when he's talking to Bibi. And I think Trump really thought that, yeah, I'm getting sound advice, and I'm going to be the big victor. I'm going to be the big, celebrity here when I bring the IRGC to heel. And that hasn't happened. In fact, we've seen just the exact opposite of that. So, it's fodder for the right. It's fodder for the MAGA folks. It's fodder for, and the right wing's very important here, Gary, because Israel is counting on our legislature being tilted more rightward versus leftward because of some of the things we've talked about in the room. They're counting on the right for continued support of Israel. But if that fever breaks and these talk show guys start winning the arguments, and then the politicians have to somehow say to Trump, "Listen, Trump, I got to win next year, and midterms are coming up." He's gonna. Somebody has to fall on the sword, Gary. Is Bibi gonna fall on the sword over this, or is Trump gonna fall on the sword? And I don't think Trump has the ego to say, "Hey, I made a big mistake here. This is your fault, Bibi. You talked me into this." And whether or not that gets aired out in a way that is, private or, more behind the scenes, or if it needs to be public because of the voices are starting to grow louder and louder in this country, it's kind of a no-win situation. And I think the apex of our relationship is really front and center with regard to how we get out of this mess with Iran now. And can we do it gracefully? And can we get more wins out of the situation? They're talking about Bibi playing spoiler here with regard to Lebanon. That while we're trying to promote peace, he's bombing the shit out of Lebanon and going after his enemies there, which is an anthem to what we're trying to achieve with Iran because they have a big investment over there. So it's not a united front on some level, Gary. And I think we got to get that situated somehow. So. And to be honest, Gary, Trump's the crazy one here, and it's not Bibi. Bibi's saying, "Hey, I got a crazy guy here. How do I control him?" And I think at the end of the day, that's the problem here, is that we're dealing with a guy that's, again, unhinged. Look at the tweets. He's out of control. He's probably saying, "I'm not cutting the deals that I thought I was going to be able to cut." He cut deals before this incursion with the Gulf states. You got a $400 million airplane. You got a $1 trillion investment by the Saudis. You're seeing a lot of that money dry up. You're seeing the Saudis back away from some investments and ventures that they were behind, like the Live Golf organization. They pulled out of that. And so there's been a shuffling of the deck. UAE falling out of OPEC. So that's my analysis, and MAGA's going to have to do something to figure out who they have here, because the midterms are coming up very fast. The oil prices are continuing to rise, and nobody believes that there are peace talks. And I'll end there.
I don't know that nobody believes that there are peace talks. I think there are indications that they've even used the term texting. So maybe there are peace texts that's going on right now. I don't know. But what do you think? And I don't know that you were in the room when I quoted a retired Israeli military intelligence officer who's an American and who is a huge Trump supporter, has been, and who is MAGA all the way, and who now says he's angry as could be with the president for not finishing the job in Iran, and that, basically he's saying what Bolton and General Kane are saying and what Bibi Netanyahu is saying is the proper way to go, and he doesn't have the fortitude because he's listening to too many people and he's concerned about the midterms so much that he's backing off, and this guy is really angry with the president. What do you think of that analysis?
Well, that's a person who has absolute confidence if President Trump was decisive to take boots to the ground. He's a guy that's absolutely confident we could finish the job. That's a, is that American hubris talking? Is that a guy that understands how strong our military is? I mean, we've had to draw down on assets. I mean, from Korea, South Korea, we've had to draw down assets elsewhere. We've burned through quite a bit of military firepower doing what we've done so far. Supposedly we're out of the Patriot missiles. We need to rearm that up. So I don't know. I don't know what this guy's privy to here in terms of intel. Like I said, we had a family friend who was in the CIA, and he never really got out of it. And anytime there was a situation, I think we had a family friend who had a missing persons issue, and he was able to make phone calls and do some help there. So, maybe we could have finished the job, but the appetite, when the first 500 to 1,000 deaths come home or more, depending on how much we lose in that first round of boots, I mean, who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that politically? So I think at the end of the day, uh, he promised me campaign, and he got those votes from those core supporters. No more foreign wars, and I think Bibi's miscalculated on how strong and how Israel supportive we are at the expense of that. And I don't think at the end of the day they calculated that pushback as severely as they did. And the big losers, Gary, is Allen's people and the people in Iran that are suffering under the weight of all this, and the ones that are in prison sitting out these bogus trials and bullshit kangaroo courts, and their economy is constantly continuing to suffer. So, they're the biggest losers in all this, and I don't think we put together the coalition as strongly as we could have. I mean, arguably the Kurds were supposed to also come in and start fighting on our behalf. That didn't happen, and so it was a rush. It was a miscalculation. They thought it was going to be Venezuela 2.0, and we haven't been able to pull it off. So under that scenario. So, but Gary, I don't know, man. Again, it's somebody's telling him don't go put boots on the ground, and it's those MAGA influencers that are probably in his ear, and they're probably going to wait till after the midterms, if anything. I don't know. It's a good question.
Thank you, David. By the way, in my conversations with these people, there's been no discussion of boots on the ground. I just want to point that out. Meryl, followed by Ben.
Porn star first, or is that just guy talk?
What's that?
Should I talk about the porn star first?
Hey, it was brought up by a female, not by a male. I just responded to what she had to say. So it's an equal opportunity discussion for all genders.
You describe compare Joe Namath to Trump. Okay. No, you don't call. He was reelected, so, but it is not smart. When you are a leader, it is not smart. It's not smart to have affairs, period. Even though we know that goes against the nature of men, we know all about that stuff.
I didn't say it was smart. I just said to presume that if a guy has a relationship with a porn star, that he doesn't have the skills to make proper decisions and therefore is disqualified from being president of the United States. And I acknowledge that there's some people who would agree with that position, but to me it seems pretty absurd. I don't see a cause and effect, but maybe you.
I see the idea that a person can be blackmailed. I see there's different things that could happen. I see the idea that if he's married, that becomes an issue. Things like that. That's all.
Well, so does that disqualify a gay guy from running for office because maybe he might get blackmailed? I mean, people get blackmailed for all kinds of reasons.
I think that's a bad issue to bring up because I don't think that we're not going to have a gay president because we're not nice enough. We're not decent enough.
Yeah, but that's not the question. That's not the question. That's not the question. People do things that they can be blackmailed for all the time. It's not just because. And if they're open about the fact that they're having a relationship with somebody who happens to be the star of the big screen.
We're talking about the president. We're talking about leaders. We're not talking about private people. We're talking about leaders. It's not a good idea.
So fine, I agree with that, and maybe based on morality and ethics, one would say this is a reason not to vote for a person. But to suggest because a person had an affair with a stripper makes him disqualified for being president of the United States, I will guarantee you, he's not the only one. I knew a woman who was a former high-class hooker in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to write a book with her, and she was afraid to do it. All the powerful men who crossed her threshold, many powerful men, both Republican and Democrat. So maybe all of them are disqualified from their position because they were visiting this hooker. I don't know.
No one's saying that. I'm speaking specifically about the president. I thought that's what she meant. That it's not smart. It's not smart politically. It's not smart. It's just not. Period. It's might be fun and it might be natural, but that does, and I'm not going to say a porn star's not smart because Stormy Daniels was damn smart. She's damn smart. She's put together quite a career for herself. She's a business person, so I wouldn't say that about that.
The president thought she was put together pretty good.
Yeah, but she also, now see, here you get something though. She also revealed something about him that is like.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. We're not going to talk about his anatomy.
Okay, there you go. That's just another reason why it wasn't smart. Okay, now on the phone conversation, my first reaction truly was, bearing in mind that we have been told that one of the problems that Trump has had is that he is being blamed. They're saying that Israel talked him into this. Bibi talked him into doing this. And Bibi is got some people who are saying you're doing what America tells you to do. You're doing what Trump tells you to do. I don't know how bad that seems for Bibi, but it is not voted well for Trump. Because, and we see there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that are anti-Israel right now, and that troubles me a lot. But it's true, and Trump cares very much about what people say, and for whatever reason, his poll numbers are going down, and it would not surprise me if the White House. It wouldn't have surprised me if the whole thing was even made up. It wouldn't have surprised me if the White House made up a story and leaked it and said that Trump had this conversation with him to make it look like that Bibi's doing something that Trump doesn't approve of. And Trump's not going along with it. That was my first reaction, is I wonder if this is true, and I wonder if this was a made-up story by Trump. And if not, then it would be then only, I wouldn't find it logical that Bibi would do something unless he and Trump are at odds about things. If they've had some conversations and it's not boding well between them, the two of them, they're, one is one over, here's Trump saying, I need this peace plan. I need it now. And you got to stop doing what you're doing. That might be an issue between them, and Bibi might just be saying, the heck with this, I have to do what's good for his country, and Trump is being Trump. So the only way I would find it, if Trump called him up and was swearing at him, it's got to be because the two of them are at odds about something. It's not about him. It's not about Israel in Lebanon. It's about Israel in Lebanon now. Can't you wait? Can't you wait till I get my peace deal? I don't know. But my first reaction was I thought it was a made-up story. But I thought it was made up by the White House, by Trump, that he wanted it leaked so that he could say, I don't do what Bibi tells me to do. He does what, that he was angry about it. That's what I was thinking.
What I'm thinking is that there's great hope for a peace in the Middle East. And the reason I say that is you just articulated what Norm said. And if Norm and Merrill can agree on something, anything is possible.
Wait. Take that up. Did I agree with him? Really?
Yeah, you just
Oh,
was on
oh
the
no,
stage
I
and said.
got to change my mind. I got to change my mind. I got to change my mind. Please.
By the way, you said that the president said, or were you trying to say, you may have misspoke, that people are claiming that the president is being controlled by Bibi. You actually, the words you used were that Trump has said that Bibi talked him into it. Is that what you meant to say?
Oh, no. The original story was that Bibi came in and made his presentation. Then Trump met with General Keane and met with Marco Rubio. That people said why they thought that it would not be over in 4 weeks. That they gave him advice and he chose not to follow it. I don't know that he followed the advice of Bibi, that he did it because it was Bibi or because it's Trump. And I personally blame Trump. That it's Trump who listens to this and listens to that and then says, no, my gut decision is this. And then he just does. And I'm not saying.
I just wanted to clear that record because I thought you had misspoke yourself. So the president actually posted to Truth Social when this issue was raised. Israel never talked me into the war with Iran. The results of October 7th added to my lifelong opinion that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Did. And maybe grammatically a little off base, but maybe Stormy Daniels helped him write it, and that's why it's off base a little bit.
No, but Trump has taken, but unfortunately, there are people that are so anti-Israel right now, and Trump hears that. And people are bringing that in his ear also.
Yeah, but as I pointed out here, I actually quoted him. I went back and I researched and I quoted him all the times that he went as a private citizen, long before he announced any candidacy for office. And he went on national television at least 3 or 4 times that I cited, including with Barbara Walters and I can't remember who the other people he was on with right at the moment. And he said that Iran cannot be given have a nuclear weapon. That has consistently been his position. So if anybody has been listening to him for all these years, they would know that that is absolutely true. That has been long before any association he had with Bibi Netanyahu. That has been Donald Trump's position, and he is consistent about that.
Well, one thing I would say though is that the problem he has now, I think you could say that Iran's not going to can't have a nuclear weapon. I feel sorry for the next person who's going to be president because I don't see Trump being able to get a deal that will prevent them from having a nuclear weapon in 5 years.
See, here's the thing. A lot of people would say nobody can make a deal with Iran to eliminate its nuclear weapons. The President Obama tried with the JCPOA, but it was not a guarantee. It kicked the can down a little bit, and it did retard their weapons program. But a lot of people believe that it's meaningless to negotiate with these guys because sooner or later, no matter what they agree to do, they're going to build a nuclear weapon. So the argument that is made, and I think Alan has made this often, and Alan, if I'm misrepresenting you, please correct me, and that is now finally there was an opportunity to maybe make it possible that the issue could be forced, and then the president backed off for whatever reason and went back to negotiations, which on the face of it we all want. We don't want war. We don't want people dying. But if negotiations cannot affect the necessary removal of nuclear weapons from Iran, then it has to be done with the fist, not with the texting. And so that's the part of the equation that we have to think about whether you agree with it or not, there are people who believe that, including folks who are in a position of knowing what's going on in Iran with that regime and what effect the war has had on that regime, which I don't pretend to know, but they do, and they believe that Iran was on the ropes, and if they just kept the pressure up. You heard it from John Bolton. You may not like it because it's coming from John Bolton. You heard it from General Kane, and now you're hearing it from a couple of my sources who I'm not going to name, but I'm their proxy, and that's what they believe, and it's something to consider.
I listened to retired generals, people that were involved in intelligence, and they know Iran, and they are all saying the same thing. They are saying there's no way you can do it without boots on the ground. They're saying you've already tactically won this war. You've done, you can bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb. That's not going to get you what you want, and it does involve boots on the ground. And I think Trump was told that. I think he made a decision and then got scared about that decision.
Well, let me jump ahead and skip over Ben and go to Amir. Amir, I want to ask you specifically, please, sir. What if the Israeli program of whack-a-mole had continued? In other words, every time a new leader pops up, they get him. Another leader pops up, they get him. Another leader pops up, they get him. Would that not destabilize the regime to the point where they would acquiesce to the demand that the nuclear weapons be turned over, or not, Amir?
And everyone else. I think that is the strategy that will be pursued. I actually have quite a bit to say when it comes to my turn, but specifically to this question, I think it is going to be layer by layer until you get a layer that is going to agree to the demands of Donald Trump. And those demands are very clear. He calls it, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, but what he actually means is that he wants all the enriched uranium, the 60% plus, which is now actually not just 60%, it's 50%, 40%. They're talking about 10,000 kilos, 10 ton of this stuff they're talking about. Okay? He wants all the enrichment facilities completely demolished. He wants the missiles range to be ready, and he wants the proxies not to be supported. Now that kind of thing only requires a layer of government within Iran that is going to change the complete strategy of the country, and 180 degrees. That's your specific. That's a specific answer to your question, Gary.
And I think the people I've talked to today are frustrated that remember, it was the Israelis that was going after the leaderships. It was the Israelis that had Mossad in country, and they were killing people in their apartments, and there was no collateral damage, as they say. I hate that term, but innocent civilians were not killed in the process. They were very specific, very smart, specific attacks that were occurring. And then when the joint operation started, it was the Israelis going after the heads of state and their and the folks around them. The same way they went after Hamas and Hezbollah. And that's the Israeli way of doing things. And the guys that I talk to now, I realize they're saying it from an Israeli perspective, they're frustrated that the president put the reins in on that program. They believe, and look, the Israelis have the folks on the ground right now in Iran. We all know this. I'm not saying anything that has not already been revealed. They know what's going on, in all likelihood, in the inner circle of the Iranian regime are Mossad spies. And the Iranians know that. They don't even know who to trust. That's why when they send messages to the new Supreme Leader, Baby Khamenei, they do it through courier and they switch them up. It's not just one, take a message, Garcia. it's a bunch of runners that they run it through so that it can't be traced back to where he is in hiding because they're afraid he's going to be the next one to be eliminated. I think that if Bibi had his way, this would have been over by now without putting boots on the ground. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a
No,
military
you're not
strategist.
wrong. Don't say that, Gary. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. As Mr. Amir says, this operation had to be layer by layer by layer. The 12 days hit by Israel, it was so significant. This regime didn't lose his head from his ass. And we didn't need any boots on the ground. You had 80 million people. There was 1 million people that were dancing on the street of Tehran the day Khamenei got hit. Come on. There was no place in the history this thing happened. We didn't need any put. Iranian, they would do the job. But right in the middle of this most sensitive time, all of a sudden you hear ceasefire. Ceasefire. What did it get us? The Strait of Hormuz got shut down. Kuwait got hit. Qatar got hit. And the rest is all history. You all know. Why? The same thing you're saying, Gary. 80 million Iranian, they were thinking and was saying, what happened? We were just doing it. Because the Basij, they were lost. We don't have enough, we don't have an army. It's all bullshit when they say army, we have 2 million people army. No, they don't have it. And then all of a sudden everything is stopped and regroup. And now we're all talking about peace talk. There is no peace in here. It's all blood. Every single hour. And you said it the other day. How come in the part of peace, it's not any restriction to Iranian regime to stop killing the innocent people? How come that's not part of the whole equation? It's all about money. Amir hit it right hit the nail on the coffin, and also you do.
So, if one were to take that position, that what you just said is accurate, then I would suggest that perhaps it would have been better if Iran if the president did listen to PP. No. It might have been a different outcome. I don't know that it would be a different outcome, by the way. I have no way of knowing. But I'm just saying, this is what these guys are telling me, and this seems to be what Alan and Amir are suggesting as well. Meryl, do you have anything else? Because I'm going to let Amir get the last word in here, it looks like.
Yes, to say.
What's that? I think she's...
No, I said I'm fine. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Okay, good. Yeah, you were not coming through there for a second. You're fine now. Amir, it's all yours.
I just have to say that there was certainly an element of surprise in the initial attack. They did think that this would be finished very quickly, and it does take quite a. I mean, basically what Iran proved is that they have this matrix management or mosaic type of management in the military, and they call it Atash be ikhtiyar, and basically what that means is that every group can have their own little organization, and they can fire at will, and that is going to make it very difficult to sort of to assume that you can hit the layer at the top and everything will fall. So that is where I think Trump disagreed with. That was the reason that he disagreed with Netanyahu, and he said, let's pull it back because this is not working, and he started negotiations. Now I think probably Netanyahu is going to carry on doing that without Trump involvement directly. So I'd like to just make a couple of comments, if I may, on the discussions.
Sure, of course, sure.
That's great. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gary. First comment is regarding the politicians' relationship, with a woman or it really is only related to his sexual tendencies, and has absolutely nothing to do with his or her ability to be a president or a prime minister. I mean, we have a saying that what goes on between the sheets really does not matter one iota in terms of what they do in running of the country. The only time that it becomes a problem is that if the wife or the husband finds out, and then there is actually a conflict internally, and that could then potentially affect it. But the actual act of sexual activity with another person shouldn't really matter. That's my view. That aside, the answer to your question, to your specific question, Gary, is I think yes, he did probably say that to Netanyahu. But I think he said it tongue in cheek. He said it like the way I say it to my friends. You're fucking crazy. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I would imagine that he would say. It's not going to be in a serious stance. I don't believe. Now, the question of finishing the job, really, with regards to Iran, I think that is, as I said, there was obviously a miscalculation on behalf of Netanyahu and Trump, thinking that it would just be over within a few days, and that didn't happen. And basically, my question, I guess my question is to you, Gary. Do you think seriously that Iran is going to part with their 60% enriched uranium?
Not unless it's at the point of a gun.
Fine. It has cost them over $1 trillion to get here. Okay, so that's very important to understand that these guys are not going to part with that. They're just not. I mean, negotiations in total is a red herring. The negotiation that one side says, give me everything that's cost you $1 trillion and I give you 18 billion back, is a ridiculous stance. It's just a non-starter. How do you negotiate with something like that? I mean, this is the whole thing. I think the whole thing is the negotiation and reining in Netanyahu and all the rest of it is a red herring. It's a clear red herring. Neither side are going to. Iran has been saying for 3 days now that we are not negotiating. That Trump is talking bullshit, basically. We are not negotiating. I don't know who he's negotiating with. So what's actually going on here? I think it's basically the only solution, I think, is exactly what Trump is pursuing. He's tightening the blockade at the same time, he's on this premise of the negotiations, he's tightening the blockade and he's keeping that. And that is the story that's staring us in the face. And what he's hoping for, that Iran eventually will go to the war by itself, and then the people will take care of the government. That is what he's hedging his bet on. And I bet you it's not going to be just till the 19th of July, it's going to be till the 3rd of November. If he can keep the price of oil to where it is roughly round about $90, and he carry on the status quo until Iran will sort itself out, I think he's going to be a happy man, and I think he's going to go down in history as one that stood on the right side. And thank you for the time. Sorry.
No, thank you, Amir. As we close, I want to report to you that my hands have been properly slapped by somebody in the main chat. I always say that if I'm wrong about something, I want to be corrected, and I'm going to stand up for that. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to read this admonishment from Ronit, and I'm going to read it verbatim. Marilyn Monroe was actually highly intelligent. She was typecast by Hollywood studios as a dumb blonde, but she was actually a voracious reader and shrewd businesswoman who actively fought for better roles and control over her career. Folks, we're here Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock New York time, so until 5 o'clock New York time tomorrow. For the next edition of the Critical Thinking Forum, everybody be safe, be well, and peace out.
I used to think. You know how, like earlier I was saying, I'm not the biggest fan of the word manifestation because of just the dubious nature of it and how it kind of causes confusion. I've been trying to find ways, like find something else that kind of like had the same effect, and I came to the realization.
I am the charioteer of the east, Lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. Advancing onwards to Thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art.
Mine is the head of the hawk. Abrahadabra. And ends.
6. I bear the rose and cross of life and light.
Abrahadabra.
Giving the sign that each Abrahadabra.
Remaining in the sign. The invocation concludes.
Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament, or of the ether, or of the earth, or under the earth, on dry land, or in the water, whirling air, or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the Vast One, might be thee.
Abrahadabra. The adoration. Impromptu. Close by banishing.
I think this was omitted at W's order.
The letters around the rim are Enochian letters, facing outward in the illustration, including the corner letters facing toward the outer point of each corner. The two overlapping equilateral triangles shown in the interior of the figure are composed of thin, solid lines and somewhat closer in their bases to the top and bottom of the square than shown here. In the illustration, the base angles touch the fourth edge letter from the corner in each instance. The rectangular grid with Enochian letters in the center of the diagram has been adjusted to align with the edge letters of the original illustration. This rectangular devices. 5 squares and 2 circles symmetrically arranged in the pattern of a 7-pointed star with point upward. There is no actual 7-pointed star drawn. These devices are all oriented to be viewed from the center of the figure. Their size is about that of 3-edged divisions vertically and horizontally, and their text would be at right angles to any straight line that might be drawn from the center of the figure. These devices have been represented by the numbers 1 through 7 in the approximation above. They are separately approximated below. Not to scale.
Next, the following text is between the points of the pentagram, starting at upper right. The words below are arced in a circle.
Stone, a crystal which Dee alleged to have been brought to him by angels, was then placed upon this table, and the principal result of the ceremonial scrying of Sir Edward Kelly is the obtaining of the following diagrams, plates, viewing. symbolize the fourth dimensional universe in 2 dimensions as a square, surrounded by 30 concentric circles, whose radii increased in a geometrical proportion. The sides of the square are the 4 great watchtowers, which are attributed to the atom. There is also a black cross, central tablet according to the arrangement shown. Compare the black cross bordering the tablets in plate A with plate V. Plate V gives the general view. Plate 4 gives the complete attribution of the tablet of air. The 6th file is called linea patris. The 7th file is called linea filii. The 7th line is called linea spiritus sancti. This great cross divides the tablet into 4 lesser tablets, the left-hand top corner being air of air, the right-hand top corner water of air, the left-hand bottom corner earth of air, the remaining corner fire of air. Each of these lesser tablets contains a Calvary cross of 10 squares, which governs it. Plates V, VI, and VII are similar for the other element. This is the way in which the names are drawn from the great tablets. The Gnostic Catholic Church, the Order of the Knights of the Holy Ghost, the Order of the Illuminati, the Order of the Temple, Knights Templar, the Order of the Knights of St. John, the Order of the Knights of Mountain, the Order of the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre,
People who were like, it was like the dude like made a virus to cure his dog's cancer.
Fucking Wuhan or Mohan?
But
Mohan lab.
no gain of function stuff. But you saw the paper that came out of that guy where.
Sorry, John.
What else? May I break in with breaking news?
Yeah.
I don't really know much.
Don't worry.
Give me one sec, Rob.
Please do, Nora.
I'm not in room with him. Okay, then I'll shut up.
He's not here.
Yeah, get the illegals out. So the U.S. has attacked Keshem Island, Iran, and Iran is attacking Gulf neighbors right now. They're going into shelters.
Amazing.
Who are they bombing, Norm?
So far, I have Kuwait and Bahrain, but I think it's wider.
Okay, so yesterday,
Quiet for a second.
Right, nobody cares.
Don't do that, don't do that.
Norm, did they hit the UAE, or is it Bahrain?
I haven't worked for them yet. I've only heard Kuwait and Bahrain.
I don't doubt
Exactly
you.
right.
I don't doubt you, Norm, but what are your sources? I'm just curious.
Okay.
Huh?
The Kuwait source comes from Kuwait. I get news there. And the Bahrain source, I get like a signal on my phone when there's a sound, and everybody has to go.
Okay, so pause. No, Normo. All I'm trying to say is I put this in the chat yesterday in the same room, Serendipity's room, and they pointed their weapons at
You're not Hispanic.
U.S.
I'm
troops.
Hispanic.
And that
Also,
You speak Spanish?
well, they don't only hit the U.S. troops, though. They hit civilian targets. Also, I think
If you're from Spain, you have
also
like this
it's
accent.
Iraq.
Again, Norman, I did, sorry, yeah.
Kuwait, Bahrain, Iraq, and according to this, we've just attacked Keshem Island, Qeshm.
So where were they pointing the weapons at the US?
at Kuwait.
At Kuwait?
The U.S. troops were in Kuwait, and then Iran. They pointed their weapons at them, and then that's what triggered the response.
Well, they also hit, but they hit civilian targets, including their oil assets as well. And this is true also in Bahrain and Erbil, Iraq, which I assume is under U.S. control, which is why they're hitting it. Possibly Kurdish as well, I'm not sure. But I'm just letting you know. I'm not even sure I know what Keshem is, but but U.S.
I know where it is. It's
Where is it at?
it's off of obviously of Iran in the Gulf.
Is that the resort island where like people can go?
I think so. It's not. I think it's a resort. I think it's not the. Is it a strategic?
Like a duty-free zone, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I canceled that trip. I'm supposed to go the 10th. I'm not going to that region.
You could get stuck there because they're going to stop all the commercial air traffic.
That's what I'm thinking.
Unless this is over, unless this is just one exchange and done. It looks like the IRGC wants to restart a regional war. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
I don't like.
It's really hurting. It's hurting the UAE business-wise.
Didn't
Definitely
Iran
hurt
just
that.
make a deal with Trump over the oil, like just over the weekend? Isn't there a deal, some deal made, and now they're, I don't know, it's weird.
With the UAE?
No, I thought Iran had.
Remember Bibi Netanyahu said fuck that deal and then he attacked Lebanon?
Oh, no, wait. Lebanon doesn't have any oil. Lebanon
No,
attacked.
he said fuck a deal and then attacked Lebanon.
rained on
We've been
by,
with Hezbollah.
how many rockets?
I don't know, countless.
Okay, but when
Tens of
you,
thousands.
hold on, when you talk about the constraint, Strait of Hormuz, right?
Yeah.
And then who actually controls that? Nobody. But they actually are right now effectively.
Well, no, we
Right
blockaded their blockade.
Exactly. Blockade.
Why are you guys saying we? Are you guys both U.S. Dual citizens?
No, you listen to we means the United States of America.
Well, when was we? How was the United States of America directly threatened? But again, Israel destroys.
What is your question? We're talking about war right now.
You're not addressing what they said, Florida. You misheard.
Keep up.
I don't think you're understanding.
I don't think you're understanding
Trump
what's going on.
negotiated last
So
week.
we,
the United States,
Netanyahu said,
slow down, cowboy.
Hey, asshole, how about that they got shot at? Would you shoot back if you got shot at, asshole?
That was my question.
Yes, so tell me, what would you do if someone shot at you?
No,
Do you shoot back? You just like kind of let them keep shooting?
question was,
Clarify, you get shot at. Do you answer? You shoot back.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
My question was going to be,
Yeah.
why did you say we got shot at?
Well, I didn't. You're not following the conversation. I said we have attacked Keshem Island, we, the United States of America, and that the IRGC is attacking Bahrain and Erbil. That's my update.
What's going on here, right?
That's my breaking news. No, tell us what's going on. Oval One, my military genius colleague in this room.
Bro,
What is going on?
Everyone knows that we're friends with Kuwait, we're friends with Bahrain.
Yes.
Like, we're talking about the
UAE.
Okay,
Bahrain
yeah,
is a
the
city.
UAE. Okay,
No, Bahrain is a
Bahrain is not a fucking city. I go there. It is not a city. It is a country. Jesus Christ, dumbass.
Wait,
By the time we're done with it, it's going to be a
It's
state.
a beautiful place, by the way. I
It's a
recommend the
hotel, yeah.
Four Seasons if you go there.
Oh, okay.
I've been there.
That's
They got American Alley down there, right?
It's really nice. Yeah, the old Bahrain, the old area is really
Somebody tells me right now that they have some freaking princess ship that has made it through there, then I don't want to listen to you.
I don't get it. Why do you want a princess?
Because
You're
there's
princess?
a blockade.
And?
Yeah,
Yes, it's a tool of war.
yeah, it's war.
Yeah, so what's the new, I don't get it. Why
Why
would
would it be
None of
bad
you
if
have
they,
any
if they end up basically making it so that nobody can cross through the Strait of Hormuz unless they want them to? Well, why would you let the people they want to cross the Strait of Hormuz?
Then
go
the
too?
entire world will make war on them because the entire world will be hurt by their trying to take control of the Strait of Hormuz. Even China's on our side with this one.
I'm telling you from the people that I know that I just went to a wedding at a chapel, just leave it at that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
What do
not
you know?
happening.
Going to the chapel and
Wait, what do you know?
Classic, Abby. Classic. So, Abby,
Get that song.
I thought you were talking about the NBA.
I was thinking that too,
Playoffs
Robbie,
tonight,
but
or
I
the
didn't
NBA
think-
finals.
No, the NHL.
The NHL. Sorry, I keep calling you that, but Boston first.
The IRGC bombing
Right.
the NFL?
Excuse me, Brian.
Is somebody saying something?
Yes, I am. Dumpster.
What? Yeah, what?
So do you follow PBR?
No, not very closely.
I was going to say, hopefully Crimbler maintains number one. The Australians fielder, he's number two. So this year we're going to see if we're going to maintain dominance on the PBR.
Yo, Dumpster, which Brokeback Factor?
Yeah, it'll be interesting
Just
to-
tell us.
Rob, hey, don't.
It'll be interesting to see the next $1 million
Hang
man.
on a second, hang on a second.
Yes, sir.
Rob, Rob, mute when you're not talking, because you're, have your mic open, so you could, like, talk when people are talking, and that's not cool, don't do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who shows up for the new World Final Series this year. And I just hope that there's less controversy and stuff that happens this year than
the rodeo world because they lost a lot of good horses last year, and they had a lot of issues with some of the riders and stuff getting hurt and being out for a while. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out this year. I don't follow it very close, but I also don't follow many sports either.
How expensive that ticket is, Brian, to the finals? It's like one of our most expensive tickets in our city.
I don't know.
So, but it's a big deal to go to.
Are you guys,
That's when you know a stockyard. That's when you know a stockyard manager. He can hook you up with some nosebleeds. Let's just put it that way.
That's right.
hey Abby, are you guys hosting World Cup games?
No World Cup in Vegas. World Cup in Philly, but not in Vegas.
Not Vegas.
And by the way,
Why the fuck would anybody
The
pick
World
the like?
Series
I feel like if you
rodeo
wanted to think Americans are assholes, you'd go to Philadelphia and we'd like to win.
who's gonna go to the world? Like, it's just funny that it's there. They're gonna be people from other places, but I can't
What do
imagine
you mean that
locals
it's
being
there?
there.
It's in multiple places.
And by the way, be clear, some people keep their mic open because they're driving. That's cool. It's just the people so they can interrupt people. I want you to do that. And that was if you manage yourself. I don't care if you keep your mic open. I don't want people all think I don't.
I mean, if I kept my mic open, you might hear me swear on a cat.
That's all right.
So.
We're cool with that, Brian. Everyone, shut the fuck up. Hey,
What happened?
I saw some people mic mute up. I'm like, I wasn't telling. That's the whole thing.
Well, Brian, I'm more like an NFR guy because I got a lot of buddies of mine. They make a little bit of pocket change because they got some good bucking bulls and good bucking horses as well. I know, like up by Columbus, bar comes through. They'll reach out to some stockyard. They'll come out to the countryside and grab a low ranking bucking steer.
I mean, I think it'd be cool if they went to like Salt Lake City or some shit, like had like this World Cup there because like everybody's I don't know, it's like a wholesome, at least for a city, it's like
Yeah, but
it'd be
how
a
are
good
they going to
image for
drink?
America.
Well, so there was a big issue. They were supposed to go to they were supposed to have a World Cup match between Iran and I forgot who the other country was. It was supposed to be held in Seattle. Somebody could fact check me because it might have been Portland, Oregon. This is a story that came out a few months ago. They wanted to have it during a Pride celebration, and the teams were like, I think it was Morocco. It was another Muslim-dominant country.
Yeah,
And both countries or both teams were like, hey, we're actually not okay with what you guys have.
I agree, and I think like I don't know, just as a regular like American citizen, the World Cup coming to America, like I don't know how to embrace that. Like there's large amount, like people care about this shit, and we call it soccer, y'all call it football, but now we have to be the host.
Well, yeah, I mean, I follow club soccer, and club soccer is getting increasingly more popular in the United States. Like, teams are, MLS is not a bad product anymore. Like, there's a lot of teams out there, a lot of smaller teams joining. Like, there's professional soccer popping up all around. Like I said, I follow Liverpool. Like, I'm a big Liverpool fan, so I like European soccer as well. So.
What was a big tournament we had in Vegas? I don't know, 2 years ago maybe. It was like the Latin American finals.
Oh, like CONCACAF or something.
Something like that. And it sold out. It's hard tickets to get.
Are you going to any games then?
Am I going to any games?
World Cup.
No, I'm not, because I can't afford.
Yeah, I looked at the prices.
Like Foxborough, and I don't think.
What are the prices for
It's like over $1,000.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
what just to get into any of the seats?
Just to get into any, particularly because there's one in Foxborough. They're not calling it Gillette Stadium because they don't allow corporate advertising, so they're calling it either Boston Stadium or Foxborough Stadium because it's not really Boston, so I think they're calling it Foxborough Stadium. And then I forgot, it's two teams that, like, even if it was the United States, if there were USA games, like, it would be crazy expensive. But just to go watch two random countries play doesn't really excite me at all.
Yeah, I was looking at, I think US and Australia are playing up in Seattle, maybe. It was like, not worth the money.
Yeah.
Like Super Bowl prices, Beaver, what are the prices?
Probably in par with Super Bowl prices. Like, what's the cheapest to get into a Super Bowl? Like, well, let me see. Was it 3 or 4 grand?
Yeah, pretty much.
Upper, like to go to the upper bowl. I mean, face on them is 3 for the upper.
Yeah.
You know, like
World Cup,
All right.
together.
So, for this
So comparatively,
sorry. So this is for Gillette Stadium. The games
what's
at
the
Gillette Stadium
ticket
are
price?
Haiti versus Scotland, Iraq versus Norway, Scotland versus Morocco, England versus Ghana, which to be fair would be interesting, Norway versus France, the round of 32, and the quarterfinals. It's like none of those games I have really any interest in going to see.
Oh,
Unless the U.S. makes it.
Bet, and run.
Ben, can you see what they're playing in Philly? Do you know what game that?
I can look it up.
The UFC fight's going to be a very hard one to get tickets. It's mostly military that's gone.
There's 6 games in Philadelphia.
That's a lot.
Yeah, Ecuador versus Ivory Coast, Brazil versus Haiti, France versus Iraq, Curacao versus Ivory Coast, Croatia versus Ghana. I love the World Cup because you get so many random matchups.
Abby, would you go if it was a match?
And then a round of 16.
It's not random, it's rigged. Stop it, Ben.
But it does not intrigue me.
No, I would go in Philly to one of the. It doesn't sound that interesting. I mean,
It's such
it's
random.
like what's the Croatian?
If Brazil was playing Iran, you should go and watch them beat the hell out of Iran, like 10-0.
It would be fun. I'd be a little afraid.
Brazil versus Haiti, I don't exactly think a lot of people are putting their money on Haiti on that one, to be totally fair.
So would it be okay to bet against it? Like a few contracts valued at 94 cents a piece, 92 cents, 98 cents?
I mean, I'm sure lots of people are betting on the World Cup.
Yeah, I'll be betting on it.
Okay, World Cup. So this is from SeatGeek, Abby, for Philly.
Yeah.
SeatGeek, Ecuador, Ivory Coast from 7:31. Brazil, Haiti from 8:34. This is their lowest ticket prices. France versus Iraq is from 473. The cheapest one on here is Curacao versus the Ivory Coast from 198, and Croatia versus Ghana for 514, and then the round of 16 from 1,000.
Ben, I have a question for you. Like, the competition is set in place, correct?
What do you mean?
The
group stages are.
Who?
I'm sorry?
Who's competing against who? Like, the tournament is set?
Yes.
All the
Yes.
games are already matched up, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the group stage, correct. For the group stage, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then that's where you make your money. You're right.
I guess so. I mean.
So my question to you would be, like, what do you know that I don't know? Like, I don't know shit about soccer.
The final's gonna be Portugal versus.
I'm not gonna tell you how to bet on. I'm not gonna advise you betting on
Alright, soccer.
soccer.
What?
The reason being is like most of the time when I predict things in sports, I get it wrong, and so therefore I do not bet on sports.
Hey, let's hear a song, Greg.
100% guaranteed or your money back.
I'm sorry.
Wait, let's hear a song, Greg. Go ahead,
The
song, Greg.
finals will be Portugal versus Mexico. Cristiano Ronaldo.
The final, no, first round. I just want to know a first round.
First round.
Well, I told you the two that are getting to the final, so bet on them all the way up.
Like, I'm trying to load up on the front end. Yeah, man. Like, you're.
Brock, you gave me the two teams to bet on every bracket.
The final four: Brazil, Mexico, Portugal, possibly Germany.
I don't even know how the groups sort out to say who could possibly make it to any of that stuff. So.
Well, there's more teams this year. There's like.
I don't know, but we're gonna need the National Guard in our city. Please send the National Guard now.
It used to be knockout round with 16 teams. Now it's gonna be
32, I believe.
Yeah. There's more games.
All right. So according to Kalshi, right now, they have. Oh, that just changed today.
Oh wow. Okay. They currently have Spain in the lead at 16.7%, France at 16.3%, England at 11.2%, followed by Portugal, Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Netherlands, and Norway are the only ones with significant amounts of money behind them.
So didn't you say there was a Norway-France game?
I'm sorry?
Did you say there was a
Argentina.
Norway-France game?
I thought I may have said that.
My money's on Argentina.
France
Like, if
versus
they play a hell of a lot.
France versus Iraq.
Hey, what if Messi takes it
You're talking about
again,
the ones
bro?
you're talking about the ones in Serbia?
I'm trying Argentina all the
What
way.
if Messi takes it again?
I think Argentina's got a fair chance at it.
Fuck
Yo,
yeah, they
Messi's still playing
fucking
soccer?
chance.
Right, so this is kind of the general rule with the World Cup is the best players oftentimes don't do that great because of the fact that like you're playing for your home country as opposed to your like you can't stack a team like Real Madrid does or PSG like Paris Saint-Germain does.
Well, if you look at European football,
You have to play with the cards that are dealt to you in the terms of who you have on your team. So like Mo Salah is like one of the best, or historically one of the best players in soccer, but he plays for Egypt and there's nobody else on that team, right? So like you may be from a country like Zlatan Ibrahimovic was one of the most incredible players to ever play the game, but he played for Sweden and there's nobody else from that country that was really good at soccer.
What about Ronaldinho, Maradona?
Right, but they played for Brazil, so like again, if you're looking at, or I guess Maradona, but not Brazil, but
What about
like
Rooney?
No, you're no, go.
no, it's just it's kind of interesting. Like you can't stack a team like Manchester City does this in England. Like they're stacking a team with a piece. So
Bro, yeah, no, you're speaking truths. And I don't even know.
that's why it's amazing that Messi won a World Cup because he's arguably the best player of all time.
Which is like.
And he actually won a World Cup, which is
okay.
crazy.
You see, okay, and also you see the numbers like when it comes to football, like soccer or whatever. But then you relate that back to like American sports, like dude, like look at freaking NBA, like what a fucking joke, bro. Like it's not the same.
The closest comparable thing that Americans have to soccer and the way that soccer is in Europe is college football. And that's the obvious comparison.
Exactly.
Hey, but you know what's the best memes? Cristiano Ronaldo, by far, the best meme.
Like,
I would say
soccer?
SEC football it says you can hold a candle to soccer.
It's similar to soccer. I would say that it does in a regional sense of like if you go to the SEC and you're like the
drama. That's
They kill people over there. Like they kill the referees. They kill other team members over there.
Well, drama to some degree in South America, but not so much in like. I mean, Europe is crazy, but it's. I mean, there's fights and stuff. But again, you find that in the SEC.
Well,
like,
people, yeah, exactly.
Like the Ireland.
You said it right there.
No, but they segregate the fans.
They say like that, like teams like Georgia and Alabama.
Well, it's like the
see,
Iron,
like their fan base is like some type of way. Yeah, motherfucker.
Well, the Iron Bowl.
It's called
like,
the South.
So,
let's look at the Iron Bowl as an example. Like the Iron Bowl is a crazy most historical rivalries in sports in general is Alabama Auburn, right? Like that's a huge rivalry.
But they have to separate the fans though in the stadium. Like in these soccer games, they have to separate sections, and they have to leave like before the other team can be dismissed. Right? It's crazy.
Well, I did what football did for you. It gets a little crazy. The field drama, like Mossie's really good for. He's over dramatic on a slight expression. That's my opinion. Yeah, he's really dramatic.
He's never known. Messi's never been known for being dramatic.
Hey,
Like
I mean,
Messi was of the Messi versus Ronaldo.
I think you're thinking of Ronaldo.
Ronaldo has always been the more flamboyant of the two. It's not particularly close. Messi's always been the more conceited, like the more quiet, close to the chest kind of a player.
Yeah, Ronaldo cried. He started crying like a little baby.
Ronaldo is always the one with the slicked hair and the hot girlfriends and the this and the that. And like Messi's kind of like the quiet Argentinian guy who doesn't really speak English.
That's why I like him.
Guys, this just in, crypto, stock,
They play a whole different style. They like, if you look at like Europe,
But bro, are the English not good at soccer this year?
that's why they go to English goes to Europe goes to South America for a lot of their players.
But here's the deal with England. England, historically speaking, has stacked teams on paper, and they suck in the World Cup. That has historically been the case with England. Like, and again, I'm not saying that to talk crap about England. That's just the reality. England has won a World Cup since like.
Can I jump in, my guy? You've been going for like 20 minutes. You've been going for like 20 minutes.
No, it's good.
Really disappointed as Americans to see the significant support for the Zionist cause and the Zionist Christians and evangelicals. They're a huge part of this problem. And at some point, when this side of Israel and America, the Zionists, start to recognize just how devastating this is for their friends and allies and their paymasters in the Middle East, will they be a force for peace, or if I could sign that?
Just some more breaking news. Explosions in apparently on the base in explosion on the U.S. base in the UAE as well. Game of Thrones, jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to follow up, Doc, good to hear from you, sir. And, you know, we grew up in a time, honestly, that if you didn't learn from the Vietnam War, I mean, Korea was a little early. I was born in 55, but Vietnam should have been a wake-up call to everyone from our generation as to the heinous bullshit of funding both sides of any war, all of the crap we've endured as Americans, the higher taxation, the higher property taxes, all this bullshit. And, you know, the longer I live, the more I realize and appreciate the fact that we're doing this to appease a bunch of Ashkenazi, excuse me for the language, but they really, it's got my gut. I can't take this shit anymore. I cannot, okay? I went when I was 14 years old in 1969. I remember floating in the Dead Sea as the missiles were going over to the Golan Heights. Okay? I went over there with my family. I was a kid. I was 14 years old. All right? To go back now would be like suicide. But I'm one of these boomer generation Christians who grew up thinking that Israel was Israel. You can't talk about Israel. You can't this. You can't that. Even my dad was caught up in this shit. All right? I lost my dad. He died of cancer. He was a survivor of World War II. I lost my dad in 1987. 83. Shit. I was 26 years old, almost 27. If you don't learn from this kind of crap.
Breaking news. Okay, I've got lots. Explosions shake the bases of the Americans in the UAE. Kuwait and Bahrain's airspace is closed. 3 U.S. Air Force refueling aircraft are operating above Saudi Arabian airspace at the moment as well.
Since there's so much stuff going
Joe,
on.
can you just confirm you're okay? Because everybody was worried about you.
Yeah, I'm not in that area. Don't worry.
Are you okay though? Are you fine though, bro?
I'm fine, but Suleiman, look what got hit. Has anything been hit but an energy depot in Iran by America?
In which country?
In Iran.
Sorry?
In Iran.
Was it Keshem Island? I don't know what was actually hit.
Yeah, Keshem Island. It's all energy infrastructure. The whole island is.
And radars too.
Yeah, well, it's energy, oil, it's LNG, oil, and radars. That's all the island is.
Yeah, but they've been true. But I mean, that's what all those islands are across the Strait of Hormuz. So anytime you hit anywhere in the Strait of Hormuz, that's going to be the.
Yeah, but what I say, if we do hit, it's going to be limited and it's going to be energy infrastructure. Watch. That's what I've been saying since what happened.
Okay, bro.
I'm telling you, it's energy.
Yeah, of course. So 1 second. So when they hit the telecommunications a couple of days ago, was that energy as well?
No, you have military. Like if they shoot where missiles or drones are being fired from, that wouldn't surprise me. But I just think it's going to be very limited. It's not going to. I think Iran is going to do much more damage this round than America does, and it's going to feel strange that American, which is the shock and awe strategy, is not going to do that here. And I think that's going to be a telltale sign of exactly what's happening. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see.
Okay. Let me see 1 second. I don't know what this is. Okay, sorry. I'm just looking at the news at the same time. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Guys, yeah, retweet the space, reshare the space, let everybody know we're live. This is huge. We're not going to be ending the space, obviously, as you know, sometimes we do, but we're not going to be ending the space. We need to continue running the space, but I will be going live in YouTube as well at the same time, so I'll be giving news on both. And yeah, that's the latest. Sorry, was somebody speaking when I interrupted? I can't remember now.
It's okay. I was almost done. That's fine, Silly. Carry on.
Appreciate it. I'm sorry, because I'm trying to organize like the interviews as well. I was trying to get someone in earlier, but unfortunately I couldn't. But yeah, we'll be back in the normal time. Okay, let's go to Matrix Resist.
Can we emphasize on something? I think there can be two reasons, or probably more, why Iran is now retaliating throughout the region. One thing could be Iran emphasized that the armed forces of Iran, their patience is running out because the US has violated many times the ceasefire in all fronts, or what happened after Ali Larijani's death. The Iran said basically, if any assassination happens, we go after throughout the whole region, and I'm worrying that maybe one person got assassinated. That's my take. Why they should vote? I mean, maybe that's because their patience is running out. That could be too, or we lost someone great, and I hope we didn't. Sorry, Andrew. The reason, because you're a former Navy veteran, the reason why the U.S. is attacking Iran islands, instead they could just if they go tit for tat, they can just attack some of Iran entrances of their missile cities, so they remain trapped, and the next day also remain trapped, so Iran does not have hundreds of tunnels entrances open when a greater war restarts again. Why do they not do that and just focus on maybe radar installations at the islands? Is this maybe assuming for a ground invasion? Because why would they just attack Iran's islands? It makes no sense, because attacking Iran's islands and giving Iran reason to retaliate to your bases throughout the whole region is and expanding your missile interceptors and still Iran hitting. Yeah. It's way better deal for Iran. Yeah. This exchange of fire.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense, does it? Because the United States cannot do anything more than just some I'll say periphery strikes like that, standoff strikes. Because if the United States went in full blast, I'm talking shock and awe stuff, the United States is going to take heavy casualties. Yep, we saw it happen. We have all the evidence, hours of preponderance of evidence with military experts. Yep.
But we can't get inside
and given intelligence.
Yeah, no, we can't do anything. We can't get, if we actually go inside there, I'm talking because we only have 3 weeks left of standoff weapons. 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks max. So now we got to go in with dumb bombs closer in, and they say, oh, they'll fly higher. Doesn't matter. They can bomb and bomb and bomb with the dumb munitions, but they're not going to at all have any effect on the underground bunker complex systems, complexes.
Do we know if they were dumb bombs? Or if they were rockets?
Oh, that one's right. Don't know. It's probably standoff. I don't have anything, Joe, on anything substantial on how they did it. Probably, my assumption probably be tomahawks or something like that.
And Andrew, given the U.S. intelligence assessments themselves, they reported like Iran has 70% of their launches left and 80 or 90% of their missile cities remain functional. And now Iran has cleared out all entrances. So when a full war restarts, we could expect another time 300, 400 missiles in just 24 hours, just like the first day, if you remember. But the first day, the U.S. was way more prepared. The U.S. fired 700-800 Patriots in just 2-3 days. But this time they cannot just fire the 500-600 Patriots because that's what they proud the whole region in total. So I mean, what?
You're already asking
that
a
would mean a
rhetorical
double
question.
Tap. Every missile would seem like a double tap because you're expanding your less interceptors and more getting through. 30 to even 60-70% of missiles getting through, and it means massive casualty event after another.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're speaking as in you're surprised. I think we all are of how stupid, incredibly insane this is in the United States. This is why I don't have any reason, no expert can any reason. There's no strategic victory here or even end game here for any military strategic end game. It's insane beyond unreason, beyond, I have no words. It's beyond insane, stupid, crazy. I don't have words. I really don't. So let's go in with this first. So if it's insane, why is the United States doing it? I have no justifiable reason other than we have a madman at the helm.
Yeah, because if there would be a plan, so at least one great analyst would explain what the U.S. strategy is.
They can't.
It cannot be Trump is playing 7D chess or something.
No, they can't. You bring in people a lot more intelligent than I am, okay? And I'm an average guy in there. I can hang in there, okay? But you get people a lot more intelligent than I am, and Soleiman himself included. And they've analyzed this. They brought in expert after expert. I've been listening for 95 days, spending hours and hours and hours going into these spaces and listening in the archives, and everyone has come to the same end game. There is no winnable doctrine here for the United States. There isn't. Zero. So what's the end game? Iran is in the driver's seat. Iran will establish itself as a global dominance in that region. And now the only thing we have left to say is, well, maybe the United States wants the straits closed. Maybe the United States wants to have an energy shortage so we can play the fuel game, the energy game with liquid LPG, the natural gas Joe was talking about. But the end game really is we have to look at this, as Suleiman brought up, the Pax Judaica. And Iran is the only thing standing between the free world and Pax Judaica. And I believe with all my heart. Now, I understand what Joe is saying about the United States and the energy game, but that's the bottom line. Iran is in the driver's seat, thank God.
Andrew, quick question, if you don't mind me asking. There clearly is no plan. Is he willing to sacrifice all the U.S. bases within the GCC? Because I don't look at them as
done.
I look at them as military occupation.
Yeah, they're done. Game, it's finished. I hope we're all using the proper English grammar here. We have to use the present perfect tense. Let's study that super quick, super fast grammar lesson. Present perfect tense is that which is ongoing has already happened. It's already done. The United States of America has lost the war in Iran. Iran won the battle. We have no more military presence because if you don't have a naval force, you have no naval forward presence. All Navy doctrine is based on any global presence. If the strongest country in the world has to have the #1 Navy in the world, do the math. I was trained in that. I know Alfred T. Mahan's law of the sea, how that works. Naval power projected. We do not have any forward naval projection power in the Middle East. That's gone, and it has been established over 90 days now. And there will be no more reestablishment of that. And someone says, oh, it'll come back, make America great again. Okay, well, Go keep drinking the Kool-Aid. We're now in a new multipolar world. That is past tense. As Simon Dixon has said, so we've all said this, we're seeing Suez Canal.
Breaking news. Let's not mention people who are not in space. U.S. forces successfully defeat multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones, conduct self-defense strikes on Qasem Island in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East on June the 2nd. Iran launched several ballistic missiles towards regional neighbors, however, all failed to hit the intended targets. 2 missiles fired at Kuwait fell short or broke apart en route. 3 missiles launched at Bahrain were immediately intercepted. Moments earlier, CENTCOM forces shot down 3 one-way drones launched by Iran towards civilian mariners that were transiting. No U.S. personnel were harmed. Well, that's just fake news, isn't it? No one believes that. What else have we got? The news-related activity of the skies of Saudi Arabia have been denied. Military vessels of the coast of the UAE have been fired at as well, so lots of news coming through there as well. When was the last thing I posted?
Did you see the air sorties, by the way, Solomon, between the border of Iraq and Iran?
Say that again, sorry?
Multiple reports of air sorties between Iraq and Iran on the border. Don't know what side it's on, though.
Okay.
I would assume the
Seems
US.
like once again the US are trying to play this down, so it looks like they don't wanna go further. They just want to take the hit.
It's about a $6 fluctuation in oil price for the day.
Has it gone up? I thought the market's closed though, isn't it? Is it not?
Well, it seems like they knew something was coming. It probably went up like right before, the strikes happened. But yeah.
The whole market predicted a conflict based on what the market did today.
Say it again, sorry?
I said the whole market predicted something was going to happen because all major assets tanked and stuff like oil.
Yeah, I saw
increased.
like Bitcoin crash. I saw the market drop a bit. So this is, and I was thinking, why has that happened?
Yeah, it's because it seemed that these tensions were something was going to happen. I assume because there's nothing else in the market that would suggest why this would happen. Why the market would react today.
Yeah, exactly.
But it goes to show oligarchs know, right? The Epstein class knows, and they move their money before it happens.
That's
but we don't get the memo.
It's because Satan Yahoo called off the ceasefire. So to the market, that was like, okay, like the ceasefire's over.
Oh, you think that's the reason for the drop?
It's definitely the reason. The market's not stupid, you know. Like they know when things are going on. They know as soon as Satan Yahoo came out with that statement, that's when the whole thing reversed. And I was like, all right, like this idiot's like gonna like obviously ruin the ceasefire again.
Okay, guys, listen. Also, if you're on the second channel, we're gonna be moving to the first channel, guys. If you're on the space, if there's any huge breaking news, then do open your mic and speak, but be very clear. Tell me what it is in case I missed it, because it's very important, and tell me where the news is from as well, because when I do the interview, I'll have to do the interview and double check at the same time. So, of course, we continue on with the breaking news, but if there's any breaking news from any of you guys that you see and you want to relay, you need to just unmute your mic and then just let me know that way. So that's kind of the way we'll do it. Iran is reporting multiple attacks. Sorry, what was I thinking? Iran? No, that's wrong. 1 second. Okay, that's not. Ignore that. I misread that. So yeah, that's that. So that's the way we're gonna do it. So just so everyone's aware, on the YouTube, guys, if we move into the first channel now, so just watch out for that. I'm just gonna do all the things. If there's any breaking news, guys.
Announcement, Solima.
Sorry?
The latest IRGC announcement, you probably want to read that out.
Yeah, do you want to read it? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I can read it. It says, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has announced that its aerospace force has struck the U.S. Navy 5th Fleet headquarters with missiles and drones. The statement said the attack was in response to a series of U.S. aggressions near the Strait of Hormuz. According to the IRGC, a U.S. aircraft hit an Iranian tanker near the strait, causing engine room damage. Iran then targeted a U.S.-Israeli vessel named Panaya,
Causing what you said, that injury and death.
causing engine room damage.
Oh, engines, okay.
Yeah. Iran then targeted a U.S.-Israeli vessel called Panaya. The U.S. subsequently struck the IRGC telecommunication tower in South Kashem Island. In retaliation, Iran attacked the U.S. air and helicopter base in a regional country and the Fifth Fleet headquarters. And then it has a statement. We have warned any aggression would be met with a different and heavier response, and we acted accordingly, the IRGC says. Disrupting the security of the Strait of Hormuz will have heavy price for the aggression of the U.S. military.
Joe, can you send me that now, please?
Yeah, it's on one of the TG channels that I know you go to. And we go to.
Just send me it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it, guys. So that's on. Okay, if you're on the second channel, I have pinned the moral resistance channel. You need to come across that. Come across to the moral resistance channel. The tweet is pinned. Come across there. We're going to be on there. We're going to be given the latest news there. So if you can do that for me, that would be awesome. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's called Come Across there. I think I'll start that. Okay. And yeah, we'll give you the latest news. Cool. On that regard. Yeah. Matrix, you want to answer that while I'm switching over?
Oh, yes. Given that the islands of Iran are pretty small, I mean, they're not the smallest, but I mean, they're not very big, and there's still telecommunication and other radar equipment that is still being there, and the US had 5 weeks of time to target all those targets, and it didn't like achieve their objectives, or Iran was hiding them. Iran has maybe a lot of deep underground tunnel networks there. I think maybe there is another reason why the US is still trying to attack those. Maybe it's trying to weaken Iran's eyes over the Persian Gulf. Maybe in the future, the US has more freedom of operations, even with the drones or everything, because otherwise, yeah, why would you just attack radar installations of a island you're not going to invade, right? And it's like kind of an early warning radar, because Iran doesn't have like the early warning radars of US that see from 5,000 kilometers. Probably it's more like 300 kilometers, like 200 miles. And Iran coasts are like risky, right? So
Okay,
Iran
guys,
cannot
I'm
put
gonna,
them.
sorry, just apologies, I'm not being trying to be rude. I'm just gonna move everyone across now. If you're on the second channel, I'm about to end it. Everyone come across to the first channel. We're about to go live on there. So everyone do come across. Click on the tweet that is pinned. Everyone come across. Like I said, guys, if there's any breaking news, then do give me that breaking news, and we'll take it from there. And yeah, if you could do that for me, that would be awesome. Testing. Yeah, okay, cool. That is sorted. And yeah, lots to speak about and lots to get through. So I'm about to end the stream now, so come across. Okay, sorted, and we're going live now. Okay, guys, let me know if the audio's working on the YouTube. have information now, confirmation that Iran has fired a number of missiles towards a large number of countries in the Middle East. Kuwait has been hit. At least 10 missiles were fired towards Kuwait. Two of the possible targets that we're hearing is the US base Ali Al Air Base in Kuwait, and the other one was the Arijan Air Base in Kuwait as well. The US 5th Fleet in Bahrain was also targeted and hit. We had multiple explosions. We also had reports that there were explosions in Dubai as well. We're going to be giving you the breaking news throughout this conversation. We're going to be obviously having on ex-CIA Larry Johnson come on the show as well. So do me a favor, like this video. Let's try and get as many people in here as possible. Very important news. And we're going to be giving it to you throughout the night. We have ex-CIA Larry Johnston, then we have ex-CIA Ray McGovern, and then we have Lieutenant Anthony Aguilera, and possibly more guests. We're also live on other platforms as well, and so people may interrupt to give us some breaking news as well. For example, right now we've heard Iran has continuously and in a sustained manner attacked Iranian Kurdish opposition groups in Iraqi Kurdistan for the last 30 minutes. We also see US bases are on fire. I see here now US base in Kuwait is on fire. A US base in Kuwait is on fire. Guys, if you're on the YouTube, I do need you to do me a favor, and that favor is to like this video and get as many people in here as possible. And as I'm looking down, whenever I look down, it is because I'm looking for some breaking news, and this is breaking explosion.
It's a good day, right, Suleiman?
In just only interrupt, guys, if you could do me a favor when there's some breaking news. Thank you. To the people on the panel, if you can, because normally I mute when I'm on YouTube, but if you can just mute, if you can just open your mic when there's some breaking news, that would be marvelous, just to keep the stream clear and going. So breaking news, explosions in Bahrain. There is confirmation, CENTCOM are claiming that there was no strikes, but there was indeed some strikes. We have got a statement from the IRGC, and the statement from the IRGC is as follows. And let me get that for you. And actually, let me see if this works. And guys, like I said, like the video, share the video, and let everybody know that we're on this channel. Many people may not know that we're on this channel. We have ex-CIA Larry Johnson coming on, and as we normally do, it's something we've always been known for, is to provide the breaking news as and when we receive it. So, let's look. So yeah. So there was explosions in Bahrain, Kuwait. We've had some that there's explosions in Dubai, and also alerts in Saudi Arabia too. Now, there also was a report that airspace in Bahrain and Kuwait has been closed. So we're going to be talking about that as well. I'm just putting this tweet out. That's a flop. Just 1 second. And then we're going to be good to go. And as I said, do let everyone know about it. Like this video. We've got Larry coming on in the next minute or two. So Larry coming on is going to be brilliant, very important. This guy is very knowledgeable, and to give the breaking news with him is going to be amazing. We're going to continue on with the space in case anybody thinks that we're not. We are going to. So if there's any breaking news, we'll continue to give you it on the space. If anybody wants the link to the YouTube, I'm going to put it in the nest at the moment. And let's get into it. There's going to be a lot of news to speak about, a lot of news to get through. We're not going to end the space. We're going to continue on with the YouTube. Let me just we're just waiting for Larry. But in the meantime, let me just give some more news. Let me try this. 1 second. Okay, so I need, here we go. And yeah, guys, retweet the space. I'm just going to give some update on the news to the YouTube people, just in case any news they missed out on, and then we'll take it from there. So here you should be able to see the news, and let me spotlight it for you. So we've seen explosions in Bahrain, and we have this statement from the IRGC, which says, in response to the flagrant aggression committed by US terrorist forces against the national sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran on Qasem Island, the IRGC Aerospace Force struck US military occupation bases in Kuwait with precise and intensive missile strikes, successfully destroying their targets and setting the aggressors' fortification ablaze. The IRGC issues this as an initial response and delivers a severe warning to the US administration and any parties permitting their territory or airspace to be used as a launch pad for aggression against Iran. Any acts of aggression or any move against a single inch of our borders and sovereignty will be met with seismic crushing and decisive response that goes beyond existing boundaries. Our forces will not hesitate to turn all enemy positions and interests in the region to ash. The era of hit and run is over. So that was the statement by Iran. Obviously, we'll continue to give you the news as and when we receive it. And then, yeah, we'll continue to give you the news as and when we receive it. That's putting us in the right hands for when I want to give the news there. Okay, awesome. So lots of news, lots to speak about, lots to get through. Let me just give you some more news. Obviously, some of the news we've been tweeting out, but that statement talked about explosions in specifically Kuwait. But we know there's been explosions confirmed in Bahrain. We know there's reports of explosions in Dubai. We know that there's alerts in Saudi Arabia. So this is a significant, and also Iraq. Iraq has been dealing with explosion after explosion after explosion. So major explosions happening throughout. And yeah, let me just have this ready for more news as well. Okay, and yeah, what I'm seeing here is Channel 14 News is saying if the Iranian regime fires even a single shot at Israel tonight, all the gates of hell will be opened against it. Cabinet of Kuwait said, we demand Iran to stop attacking Kuwait and we condemn it. So obviously we're going to continue giving you the news as and when we receive it. The news is coming out. Let me just make sure. And yeah, we're just waiting for Larry. He could be a couple of minutes off. Obviously, there's a lot of news, so he's maybe held up in a previous broadcast. But in the meantime, retweet and like this video, guys, and let's try and get as many people in the YouTube as possible. Lots to get through and lots to break down. We will be having former CIA Larry Johnson. He's coming in a second. He just messaged me. Brilliant. So this is huge. This is major breaking news. We're seeing a lot of evidence. It says escalating attacks from Iran in response to ceasefire violations by the United States of America. The US attacked Qasem Island with at least 3 projectiles and at least 1 impact. Iran hit Ali Al Salim Air Base in Kuwait. They hit Arif Jan military US base in Kuwait. They hit US Navy 5th Fleet base in Bahrain. Targets within the UAE, apparently an American base in UAE. Possible sirens in Saudi Arabia. There was sirens in Saudi Arabia, but we We don't know about if there was any strikes. And also, Separatist HQ in Erbil in Iraq were hit as well. Multiple strikes and multiple hits. That's the latest news. Obviously, we're going to continue to give you the news, and actually, let me catch up the YouTube for any of the news that they missed. Although I did a kind of overview give it, but we've seen multiple hits. CENTCOM are denying that any of these visuals were hit, but they've done that in the past. They've done that in the past where they deny strikes, and then we find out that strikes did indeed hit. We're going to have Larry Johnson coming on. He's going to break all of this news down with us as it's coming through live. The only thing I ask YouTube audience is if you can like the video. Brilliant, everyone's hitting the emojis on there as well. Appreciate that. On the X, if you can retweet the space as well. We're going to be continuing to give you the news throughout the night. We've got so many great guests coming on to break the news down. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Can I ask for a 2-minute delay? Because I've been sitting here back to back since 6 o'clock.
Of course, Larry. Never mind 2 minutes, Larry. Take 3 minutes.
Okay.
I was going to say take the number of minutes as missiles struck, but then there'll be too many missiles. There'll be too many minutes.
I'll be right back. I got to turn the lights on anyway. It's starting to get dark.
Appreciate it. So Larry will be coming on in a couple of minutes. Don't worry about it. I was going to say to Larry, take as many minutes as the number of missiles that Iran just struck today. But then I realized there's so many. I don't want to be waiting so many minutes. So I changed my mind and I didn't say that to him. But let me continue to give you the news as this is happening. In the meantime, like I said, you guys, I'm not going to repeat it, but you guys know what you need to do. Kuwait did receive a large number of hits too. And this is ongoing. So obviously, as the news comes in, we'll continue to give you the news as and when we receive it. Okay, so the IRGC says the U.S. struck and this is was mentioned earlier in the space as well, but the IRGC said the U.S. struck an Iranian oil tanker near the Strait of Hormuz, damaging its engine room and IRGC telecommunication mast south of Keshem Island. In response, the IRGC says it targeted a vessel named Panaya with anti-ship missiles. Apparently that vessel is an American-Israeli vessel, or an American vessel at least. A U.S. air and helicopter base in a regional country, they targeted those. U.S. HQ of the U.S. Navy 5th Fleet with missiles and drones. And I mentioned all of the U.S. air bases where these strikes were carried out. So we have a huge amount of breaking news coming through. Obviously, we'll continue to give you it as and when we receive it. Okay, the IRGC, just some more information. I just mentioned this, but the IRGC confirmed it struck a vessel called Panaya in the Strait of Hormuz in response to alleged U.S. attacks. We also have the U.S. officials who made a statement. They said, we remain committed to the ceasefire with Iran. The ceasefire remains in place. The ceasefire still stands. What that tells you is the United States of America are not going to be responding to these attacks. Quite clearly, this is a major escalation and major aggression by Iran in response to multiple strikes on their locations. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel as well and put your notifications on. As you know, for many years we've been the #1 place on X for breaking news, and now we're doing the exact same thing on YouTube. We have a huge number of people on X, and we've got a huge number of people on YouTube as well. So let me just see what else we've got here. Iran is hitting Kuwait very hard with major bombardment. The fact that the United States of America are saying that they're not going to respond, that the ceasefire remains in place, is interesting to say the least. Okay, and I've got another. Oh, you're right, okay, brilliant. We've got another statement. Hi, Larry, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. There's been a huge amount of news, Larry. I know you're aware of it because you've been on a number of podcasts. What's your thoughts about what's happening?
Well, this is, let's go back to the news. That the answer broke yesterday. We received intelligence last Thursday. And so when we're getting it like Thursday, if I'm getting it midday Thursday, it's already Thursday night. And maybe it was early Friday morning in Iran. But the Iranian Supreme National Security Council had met. And they met in response to the attacks that had been taking place on Keshem Island and Bandar Abbas, and the attack on two Iranian naval speedboats. And so the message, they made a decision and then directed President Pezeshkian to contact Foreign Minister Sharif of Pakistan. And Pezeshkian delivered the following message to Sharif. Now remember, this was last Thursday. Said, one, we're going to withdraw. We're breaking off the negotiations. The United States is violating it. They've attacked us. They've blockaded us. And the Israelis are attacking Lebanon and are attacking Beirut. That is a complete violation of the ceasefire. We're pulling out. Second, we're going to withdraw from the non-proliferation treaty. And third, we will then, at some point after that, as a demonstration to show that we do have a nuclear device, we will detonate a nuclear device in Iranian territory in order to say, okay, this is now, Iran has upped the pressure. And what happened, then Sharif turned around to his foreign minister and said, okay, get on the phone or get with Marco Rubio as fast as possible, let him know this. So the United States was informed of that. I think it'd be natural to say, well, okay, that's what they're saying, but they don't really mean it. And then 10 o'clock Eastern time yesterday, 10 a.m. Eastern, Iran announced, we're done. The negotiations are over. The United States basically is not trustworthy. Now, within that, it's conditional that if the United States turned around and began complying with the agreement, doing what they had said they'd do, then Iran, I think, would reconsider. But until the United States does that, they're not going back. And the point you're making that the United States is saying, oh, the ceasefire is still in place. That tells me that part about the nuke, that's also true. Because they don't want to go there. The United States does not want that to happen. The minute Iran detonates a nuclear device, shows that it has one, Donald Trump is going to be proven the ultimate buffoon. It was under his watch that this whole thing fell apart. So that's where we're at, and I think right now what Iran is doing what it said it would do. It's targeting these attacks that have taken place on Iranian territory, came out of Kuwait. So they're hitting Kuwait. They're not hitting Saudi Arabia. They're not hitting Qatar. The next one, they're reportedly also hitting Bahrain. And they will probably hit the UAE if the UAE continues to provide support to U.S. military operations. So yeah, this is escalating. How far it will go, we'll have to wait and see.
So Larry, just on that, and by the way, guys, we are going to give you the breaking news as and when we receive it as well. So I know a lot of people here for the breaking news. I guess the question is, who or how did Iran get the nuclear bomb? Was it something they produced themselves? Was it a third-party country that gave it to them? What's the information on this?
You remember Ringo Starr's song, I Get By with a Little Help from My Friends? I think this was a Ringo Starr moment. And without identifying the country, let me just point out that Iran has very good relations with Russia, China, with North Korea, and with Pakistan. What those four countries all share in common is they all have functional nuclear weapons. And aligned with them not to use nuclear weapons as in an offensive manner. And I think, you know, if Iran ever decided to use a nuke, they would use it against Israeli military bases, you know, Israeli military facilities. They're not going to use it against civilians. So, you know, that's still, they walk that fine line within Shia theology, and I'm sure it's shared within Sunni theology too. Just not among the Wahhabis, the Deobandis, and the Salafists, but for the majority, the vast majority of Sunni Muslims, the idea of killing the non-combatant is a sin, is haram. So, the Iranians, they don't pay lip service to that. They believe that. In fact, we noticed that how many civilians in Israel were not killed, and in Saudi Arabia, and in Qatar, and in Bahrain, and in Kuwait, and in UAE during the first 5 weeks of this war. Iran actually went to great lengths to not inflict civilian casualties. They made sure they were hitting strategic economic targets and military targets. Now, did they kill military personnel? Oh, absolutely. Well, that's fair. That's, you know, that's not dishonorable. Killing civilians, dishonorable. And I'll add a note to that we had to listen to the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations Security Council yesterday complaining about Hezbollah attacks in Israel. And I just wish somebody at the council would have said, excuse me, how many civilians has Hezbollah killed in Israel in the last 4 weeks? And I think Danny would have had to say none or a few. And then somebody say, well, Mr. Ambassador, how many civilians has your government killed in Lebanon and in Gaza in the last 4 weeks? That answer is thousands. Women, children, men who are not military, elderly men, thousands. So you tell me, who's the threat?
No doubt. I totally agree with you. Like, I only believe in defensive law as well. I think that's very much clear in Sunni and Shia theology. Now, Larry, you mentioned 4 countries that possibly could have given Iran a nuclear bomb. Which country was it?
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
I tried it. I tried it. I tried it.
Good to ask, but I'm not going to say.
When I was asked the question, I thought, should I have a smile or not? And I thought, let's have a serious face. And then...
Iran has the engineering capability to build the device on its own. So it's not really one that has to go begging for this. But to be put into a position where they can now say with a credible threat, don't tread on me. That's why I think based upon how Trump and his team have been reacting since yesterday, it's sort of anti-Trumpian, if you will. Because normally Trump's out calling people names and insulting them and calling them losers and threatening them. We're going to end your civilization. I haven't heard any of that yet. I don't think you will. But I think one of the major reasons is Iran has now said, okay, we're not playing around with this anymore, and we're not going to be your punching bag. We're laid out very clearly that, so the next step, if these attacks don't stop, I think the next step Iran will announce we are withdrawing from the non-proliferation treaty. We're not going to be the only ones following the rule of law while Israel and the United States ignore the rule of law.
Just another question on that, Larry. You mentioned something about that they're plan a test as well. Is there going to be a test for the nuclear bomb as well to just exhibit to the public?
The specific language that was published last night on sonar21.com. I said, is Iran going to get the nuke? And I said the answer is yes. And within that, they made it very, very clear that they're not using this as an offensive weapon to attack someone. They're going to do it as a demonstration. In other words, to have a detonation, probably underground, because I don't think they're going to do an above-ground detonation that would risk contamination with radioactivity such a way that there will be no doubt, at least among Western analysts, that, yeah, okay, they've now joined the nuclear club.
Okay, and in terms of this possible nuclear demonstration they're going to do, is this, I'm presuming, based on the information that you've given, this was after the assassination of Sayyid Ali al-Khamenei, and what, okay. And then the second question is, was this, what is the timeline of when this happened?
Well, the time, you mean the timeline of this decision making?
The timeline of the decision and the procurement of the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, I don't have any information on that. But it's something that's been done, and I would suspect that the Ayatollah had directed these people prepare. You know, if I was him, I'd prepare at least 3 devices, because you don't want to just prepare one. That's all you got. To have a credible threat, you got to have more than one. And but to have it, you know, in their back pocket, you know, would Iran return to the table and say, okay, let's negotiate that we don't have a nuclear weapon? Yes, I believe they would, because they want to live in a situation where they're not under nuclear threat from Israel, and that they're not under threat of being attacked at whatever moment by the United States or by Israel. Because the history, despite all the Western propaganda, the history of Iran for the last 47 years, 47 years, is they've not been out attacking their neighbors. They haven't rallied armies to attack Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar. No, they stayed at home. The only time that they went outside was to Syria, when they were asked for help by Bashar al-Assad, who was under a concerted attack by the West, by U.S. intelligence, by British intelligence, by Israeli intelligence, who were aiding and abetting the radical Islamists, the Salafists, the Deobandis, the Wahhabis, that, you know, and they're under their, I'll call it the un-Islamic version of Islam. They would kill other Muslims simply because they took it upon themselves to judge who was a Muslim and who wasn't, which is, again, I think, anathema to mainstream Muslim thought.
Totally agree. And we've got some more breaking news. This is a statement. We did get a few statements, and we'll just give the news as well as we're having this interview, the breaking news. This was a statement by the IRGC. The earlier statements allegedly weren't accurate. This is an accurate rendition of the statement. It says, quote, late last night, the invading U.S. military targeted an Iranian oil tanker near the Strait of Hormuz with a Hellfire missile, damaging the engine room. In response to this aggression and violation of the regulations of the Strait of Hormuz, the IRGC targeted an enemy Zionist American ship, the Panaya, with missiles. In renewed aggression, the American enemy also targeted an IRGC communication center on Keshem Island. In response to this aggression, its airbase and its helicopter base stationed in one of the countries in the region, Kuwait, as well as the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, were subjected to an attack by missiles and drones of the IRGC Aerospace Force. We warned previously that in the event of an aggression, the response would be different and harsher, and we have acted accordingly. These responses should serve as a lesson. We reaffirm that undermining the security of the Strait of Hormuz will cost the invading U.S. military a heavy price. We also have another piece of breaking news which says, quote, a no-fly zone has been set up over Erbil in northern Iraq, covering 30 nautical mile radius and up 6,000 feet, officially for a military exercise running from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So major escalation, and also obviously the airport in Bahrain has also been closed, and Kuwait. Larry, major attacks by Iran, specifically Bahrain and Kuwait. We had also possible reports that there was explosions in the UAE, although that one needs to be verified. The UAE just keeps things under wraps, and we didn't hear alerts in Saudi, although they were not verified either. What's your thoughts about these specific attacks?
Well, responses to U.S. attacks. These have not been initiated by Iran. And that's been, that's been the track record throughout this war. So, Iran is, I'll say, maintaining its integrity. That they're not going to play into the hands of the West that wants to create a narrative that they're this crazed Islamic fanatics who want to destroy Christians. No, Iran is defending itself, and it's specifically targeting Kuwait because, the Hellfire missile, I suspect that was fired by a drone, not by a pilot. And those drones apparently are coming out of Kuwait. And so that's why they're hitting both the air base and the Army base in Kuwait, the U.S. Army facility. So, the U.S. is going to have to make a decision. Are they going to escalate? And if they escalate, then that's the end of ceasefire. Putting Donald Trump in a real pickle. I heard, I hadn't verified it independently, but I was told on an earlier broadcast with Peter Kerson that the Trump's popularity is now below 30%. And I find that quite believable. We're also seeing that, with the past manipulation of oil prices, that the price is now declining. And I think the oil market's waking up and realizing that this whole thing about an imminent peace agreement was a complete fraud.
Yeah. And guys, make sure you like this video and get as many people in here as possible. Very important breaking news happening. Larry, the Americans are obviously, the Americans are denying that these missiles struck their targets. They're saying that Iran is lying. What's your thoughts on that? This is directly from Cyclone.
America's lying. Telling the truth on this, Iran is not looking for a pretext. Iran is content to let things run. It's the United States attacking. I mean, who can give the United States any benefit of the doubt, since they're the ones that in the midst of peace negotiations, or negotiations to secure and ensure that Iran did not have a nuclear weapon, the United States betrayed those negotiations and used that as a pretext to launch that attack on the 28th of February. Even though the mediator from, I think he's the foreign minister of Oman, he was very, very upbeat on the 26th of February. Said, "Oh boy, we got, things are looking really good. I think we're making some real progress." And that got blown to hell on the morning of the 28th of February.
Okay, we've got some more breaking news. Bahrain has closed its entire airspace until 4 p.m. All flights grounded amid fresh regional security alert and Gulf air defense activity. That's the latest news on that. We did hear earlier on today that Bahrain had cancelled their flights to Iran and Iraq. Could that be in relation to this? Did they kind of smell something was coming?
Yeah, I'd say so. But I don't believe in coincidence. So if it's in fact, if that is true, then yeah, that would show that they knew this was coming. They knew the United States was going to go after this Iranian tanker.
So the U.S., Larry, is saying that they don't want to escalate. They're trying to again play this down. The countries that were hit, the smaller Gulf countries like Kuwait, like Bahrain, do you think this does escalate, or do you think that Trump, as you mentioned, because of the fear of the nuclear bomb, because of the fear of various other things, Trump wants to play all of this down?
Yeah, well, I think he's trying to play it down right now because of that message that was delivered to Marco Rubio, pointing out that this could advance to a demonstration that Iran has a nuke, and I think Trump and company want to avoid that embarrassment. I mean, that would be a complete, the questions that would be coming up at the press conference was, wait, you said you obliterated their capability. Yeah. Of course, they turn around and say, see, we told you all along Iran was going to do this. But Trump has avoided getting into the name calling and doing that kind of thing that he normally does, tells me that he recognizes that this is quite serious, and that they're trying to keep this from getting out of hand.
But in order to stop it from getting out of hand, the one thing you've got to do is to make sure that you don't cause the initial confrontation that will cause this to get out of hand. And if you look at each one of these incidences, every single one of these days have been initiated by the United States of America. So why prompt and cause such a response? Why attack and cause such a response when you know you don't have the ability, the capability to respond?
I think that the continued test, I think that they're not certain that Iran means what it says. And that's why Iran is responding as it is. Yeah, we absolutely mean it. Trust us. And, we're not going to talk. We're going to do our talking with missiles. We're not going to do our talking with words.
So we have got some visuals. Actually, it's not put yet. Oh, guys, by the way, guys, when I'm looking down, it's not we're looking for news. We're looking for new information and clips. But this visual should hopefully show. And let me. Here it is. Let me show that around. Here we go. Okay, so you can see here, hopefully, you can see this American air defense failing in Kuwait after failing to destroy Iranian missiles. So you can see the Iranian missile does end up striking. So this kind of debunks the claim, Larry, about them stopping the missile.
Are you suggesting that the United States is lying? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you are, and they are. Okay.
Yeah, this is.
We intercepted everything. Yeah, sure. Tell that to the people on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't rule out the possibility that Iran, in its missile response, is using what I'll call lower grade, lower capable missiles. That they are using. That these are more just as a reminder that, okay, we're not hitting you with our full weight. We're hitting you enough that you know we're serious about this. But if you keep fucking around, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. Larry, just on this, actually, let me get up the targets that were struck in these different locations. So it was Ali Al Salim U.S. Air Base in Kuwait. It was Arif John military U.S. base in Kuwait. There was the U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. There were also allegedly targets in the UAE. We did hear there were sirens in the UAE. We also had the possibility that there were sirens in Saudi Arabia. And then we also heard that the separatists HQ, which some call Mossad HQ, in Erbil also received consistent attacks as well. What's your thoughts about those locations and why those specific locations were targeted?
I don't see Iran doing anything against the Saudis unless the Saudis allow their airspace to be used for attacks, and I don't think the Saudis are. In fact, I don't think Qatar as well. They're not. They've got the major air base in the area out of Al Udeid, but apparently that air base is not being used for any kind of offensive operations against Iran. As far as Bahrain, there is no Fifth Fleet there anymore. Where the Fifth Fleet used to be located, where the Fifth Fleet headquarters used to be. But now those buildings, I understand, are basically empty. So the United States is not in a position to really do much damage to those.
So if the fleets are empty and non-operational, why would Iran waste their time attacking it?
Well, again, it's the West claiming that it's attacking it, not Iran. I didn't see the ROTC say we're hitting targets in Bahrain.
Well, this one claims this, unless this is a fake one, but I've been told this is a legitimate IUGC statement. The one I read, the one I read, Larry. It says, in response to this aggression, its air base and its helicopter base stationed in one of the countries in the region, Kuwait, as well as the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, was subjected to an attack by missiles and IRGC aerospace forces?
Well, they're attacking an empty shell because the Fifth Fleet Command is not backing off range. It'd be insane to be back there. They don't have any protection.
So do you think that this attack then, this specific attack on that specific base was more of a kind of, not an actual...
A reminder. You know, the reason they may have targeted that was because the Panium, the Panaya, that Iran hit. Sort of the tit for tat. You hit our ship, we'll hit your ship.
Yeah. Now, we also saw that the telecommunication, another telecommunication radar was hit in Kashim Island. I brought this up to you the other day, Larry. They are starting to consistently hit a number of telecommunication and radars on the Strait of Hormuz. As someone who is intelligence, how important is that? Like, if they take enough out, what would that do?
Well, it depends. So I start with the assumption that Iran is not dependent upon one type of communication system. They have both visible systems that are above ground, but I think they also have other systems, some below ground. And you can't rule out that they've also created decoys. They've created, if you will, a target that looks like a communications node. Turns out that it isn't. But if the United States plan is to gradually try to wipe out the ability to communicate between these units, then that could be a prelude to another attack. Maybe trying to insert ground forces. But I don't think the U.S. is there yet, because I'm not hearing the chatter that you normally would hear, that if that kind of major operation was planned, then there would be activities undergirding it that would be underway right now. And I'm not seeing or hearing that.
Well, that's interesting, because we've got some news that suggests the opposite, but then I guess this could be just a fake reporting. But there is some news claiming air defense activity is reported in Isfahan. Locals within western Tehran are reporting a possible power cut, and also locals in western Tehran are also reporting aerial jet activity. Now, this may not be a U.S. attack. It could be, for example, Iranian jets. It could be, for example, power that has been cut by Iran themselves because of certain defense procedures they put in place. It could also be that the air defense activity is ready for anything possible, even though it may not be covered. These are the latest and breaking news.
Well, and also consider that what might be taking place over Isfahan is the U.S. drone trying to do intelligence collection. And the Iranian air defense systems naturally would engage that target. They've shot down over 25 MQ-9 Reapers and several MQ-1 Predators over the course of the last 12, 13 weeks. So that could be another explanation. I do think it's more likely that the air traffic that they're hearing over Iran is Iranian air traffic, not U.S. traffic.
Fair enough. That makes sense. That does actually make sense. Because I remember you mentioned to me that if something like that was to be happening, you would be hearing chatter at least about 5 to 6 hours before something happened.
Yeah, there's a whole host of, let's call, they issue, first the flow is there's an issue, a concept of operations, and then there's an alert warning order, and then the units that are actually going to carry out the military activity, they have to go back with a proposed concept of operations, and then that concept of operations is accepted or modified, communicated back down the line, and then that becomes the plan, and then they have to wait for the execution order. So I don't think we're at that stage yet. But again, I'm not sitting in any of the command centers monitoring that message traffic.
Yeah. And guys, make sure
wants to know if it's possible to include karma ratings for your comments. They say that they're an active participant of Clubhouse. They would love it if participants were rewarded for their comments.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they are. Like, I think that when you make comments, I think that.
Yeah, lights are counted in for sure. I think this is maybe about the tone of what you're posting as a comment. But I think we have the ability to interpret positive and negative.
Yeah, I think our philosophy on it is like, if you're posting good, constructive, interesting, great comments like that, people would like that to be.
Interesting question. I got this a couple times as users in Japan who say that karma means something very different there. And they were curious why we chose that word because it has negative connotations.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
I just talked about, okay, so Paul, I've got one more question. Maybe I have to take this a little deeper into account. Which is, would like to ask about something that was previously mentioned in a town hall. Paul, I believe, will send that leader at some point give the option to delete private back channel messages. But we haven't heard anything since. Is there an update in Python staff?
It's not an update, but I will make I didn't mean that sound like all business. Right now, one thing I'm doing on the team is cataloging all sorts of things like this and to just knock out to make that better for people and to give people what they want. And this is definitely one of the list. So let me take an action item to try to get that.
Awesome. As I'm looking at the chat, we wrap up. A couple people asking if we will bring clips back and just in this previous town hall, I think Paul might have said, okay, clips are coming back, so maybe you wanted to use something about that law, maybe just a little bit. So maybe you wanted to use something about that law, maybe just a little bit. Actually,
So like, we'll start off crazy, and like, but there's actually two stuff. And we have potentially to automatically suggest great clips for you. If we end up on video, you should video clips like, there's just a lot of different stuff. I'm excited about it. That's great. Helps catch up on the best moments of programs that you missed, and for people to share it off platform and build their communities, for people to have it as a way to discover new people they might want to follow, new houses they might want to join. Like if you go to a house or someone's profile, it'd be really nice if you could listen to some highlights of like some of the funniest, most interesting, best things they've said. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be awesome. We're working on it right now.
As you know, I get asked about clips a lot. And
follow new houses they might want to join. Like if you go to a house.
It's been kind of pandemonium in terms of great feedback. And I think as somebody who has, you know this about me, I have internally advocated for some form of clips to return based on the feedback we got. And I was not even prepared for how phenomenally better it's going to be than the original clips experience. Like
let's not overset expectations. It's pretty simple to start. But
no, it's fundamentally going to change the way people use the app, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
well,
I'm super excited about that.
Hopefully people like them.
I will intend to make sure that they do. So, Paul, we have made it just in time. I'm super glad we got to everyone's questions that sent in. Again, please send us your questions so we can answer them here in Town Hall. And Paul, please bring us home for another Town Hall. June is in the record books.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming to Town Hall. We say this all the time, but we really, really, really want your feedback. We're really trying to do a great job of building what you want and building what you're asking for. So please tell us what you want more often, and we're going to see how quickly we can get it out to you. I'm really excited about the big things that are coming up that we've talked about, and also ones that we haven't yet talked about. And we'll see you in just a couple weeks. I think June 2nd. Wait, what's our next town hall?
July 7th.
July 7th. Okay, perfect. We'll see you, I guess, July 7th, which is not in a couple weeks, but we'll make sure to drop a ton of updates and more importantly, a ton of new product updates to the app over the weeks that follow. And thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. As we like to say here at Clubhouse, we'll see you in the hallways. Thanks, everybody!
Big thanks again to Natalie. Here comes the plane, everyone.
Oh, I got it too.
Double dipping. Bye. Bye.
Houses, they might want to join. Like, if you go to a house or someone's profile, it'd be really nice. New house.
charioteer of the east, Lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye true divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the beer to the house of rest, who parteth the ship of wrath and sing onwards to the heights of heaven. Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth, behold, he is in thee, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein doth float the heaven of heavens. I travel upon high, I tread upon the firmament anew. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of the new, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified wrath, giving my life to the dwellers of therefore all things are as my designs. Therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom or light, all power, grace, luxury, all in my frontier of the East, lord of the past and of the future.